Hey everybody, it's GombletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today is the day Kamigawa Neon Dynasty has finally launched, and I am incredibly excited for this set. There's a bunch of really cool flavor, Japanese and cyberpunk themes, a bunch of new mechanics for limited, and it just looks like it's going to be a really cool, really fun format. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into our pack 1 here. So there are two cards that I really like here in the rares and uncommons. The rare being Soul Transfer, a 3-mana sorcery that allows us to exile a creature or planeswalker. It's just going to be a pretty great removal spell, period. However, if we control an artifact and an enchantment as we cast this, we get to also return a creature or planeswalker card from our grave to hand, making it a nice 2-for-1 removal spell as well. There's also Colossal Sky Turtle. I think this is going to be a really great uncommon here because it's a really big game-ending flyer with a nice hexproof sort of ability with that ward, but it also has those channel abilities, so if you draw it early game when you don't have the mana to dump it out, you can still do something with it. So I really like the flexible cards like that. I do like a lot of the channel cards in the set for that reason, and so I think that's probably my second favorite pick out of that pack this early in the format. Here we are now, pick 2. Gonna definitely have to look through these cards a bit, try to read them a bit, because I am very new to the set. I have looked over the set list a couple times, just trying to get general opinions on the cards, but this is very much still my very first draft of the format. So here, I do like the Ironhoof Boar. I was going to say Territorial Boar, but that's a different card. The Ironhoof Boar is kind of similar to the Turtle, just a big kind of game-ending sort of card that also has an ability where you can cycle it early for a smaller effect is cool. Noriki Yamazaki seems pretty powerful as well. A 3-mana 3/2 Vigilance. Whenever a Samurai or Warrior you control attacks alone, you can cast an enchantment from your graveyard. So if you have any good enchantments in your graveyard, and there are a lot of enchantment creatures in the set, then even getting this to trigger just one time is going to be a really good deal. So I think I'm going to try the Norika Yamazaki here, maybe go for a white-black enchantments deck. The white-black theme in the format is kind of a balance between artifacts and enchantments. They have a lot of cards like the Soul Transfer that care about having both on the board when you cast the spell. So I really like Greater Tanuki. This is one of my favorite commons in the set early on, just because, again, big game-ending 6/5 trample, or the cycle ability when you don't have the mana for it. Jukai Preserver is kind of similar and really cool as well. 4 mana for essentially a 4/4, putting a counter on one of your cards when you play it, or cycle it earlier as a combat trick that puts a counter on 2 of your creatures. So that's really nice and flexible. This Kumano Faces Kakazan seems very good if you're a super aggressive deck. Kind of a 1-mana 2/2 haste eventually, and until then you damage your opponent, get a counter on another creature. A lot of just sweet cards in the set. Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice is a little weird for draft. It's going to be hard to draft around it, but it could be fun, and it's another legendary card, which is pretty cool, another rare card. I think I'll take Lightpaws here. We are already considering trying to draft auras a little highly with Noriki Yamazaki, and if we draft enough auras, then Lightpaws' ability can go off as well, pulling out extra auras when we target, or when we have Lightpaws on the board. But the extra aura will be attached to Lightpaws. Alright, so what do we have now? Gravelighter seems really good. This is a super flexible card, and it seems pretty powerful in general. 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer and draw a card if a creature died this turn. Otherwise, 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer, and each player sacrifices a creature. So both halves of this card's like really good. A 3 mana 2/2 flyer, draw a card when it ETBs is awesome. And then, 3 mana 2/2 flyer that makes each player sack a creature. It's good if you have some small creatures out and your opponent doesn't. So in the right position, that can be pretty good. I think I like Gravelighter here. Seems like a pretty solid uncommon, pretty easy card to scoop up here. Now we have an excellent common in this pack, Spirited Companion. This is 2 mana for a 1/1 enchantment creature dog. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. So this is a really good combo with Norika Yamazaki, because this is a 2 mana enchantment that will often end up in our graveyard. It just trump blocks early game, gives us value right when we play it, and then if we have Noriki Yamazaki out, then we can now recast it from the grave when we attack with a Samurai or a Warrior. This is also a really good combo with Gravelighter. It gives us a very expendable creature to sacrifice, and an excellent combo with Soul Transfer as well. That'll give us an enchantment on the board. So really happy with Spirited Companion here, above the other white, black, or colorless commons. So now, pick 6. What do we got? Another Greater Tanuki, really late. I think Kappa Tech Wrecker is also going to shape up to be a pretty powerful card. We've already seen, if you just look around the pack so far, there are a lot of enchantment creatures and a lot of artifact creatures. So being able to exile an artifact or enchantment somebody controls can often just end up being a removal spell, just killing a full-on creature. So I think Kappa Tech Wrecker is actually just a great green card. It might even be better than just the Tanuki. But yeah, some great green here. Just decent stuff in white or black. Ancestral Katana is going to be good if you have a lot of Samurai or Warrior. So that might be the pickup here. Decent little combat trick, Light the Way. Oh, I guess Shrine Steward's a lot of mana, but it does pick up some kind of enchantment. I don't love these cards. I think I'm just going to scoop up a green card, Kappa Tech Wrecker here, because it just looks so open with those cards going that late. And yeah, we're not seeing a lot in white or black. Imperial Oath is like fine, but there are so many good expensive cards that can also cycle that I would much prefer those, or that also have channel. Nezumi Blade Blesser, 3 mana for 3/2 Death Toucher if you have an artifact, Menace if you have an enchantment. I guess it fits with the black-white theme of the set. Ninja's Kunai is solid removal because it goes into any deck, just 2 mana for 3 damage to a target, although having to tap a creature to do it as well is a bit of a cost. Oni Cult Anvil is a very powerful build around though. Whenever one or more artifacts control leave the battlefield during your turn, you create a 1/1. You only do that once per turn, but it also has the ability to sack those 1/1s to deal a damage to your opponent and gain a life, and it loops with itself. You can just keep sacking that 1/1 and draining your opponent for life every turn. So Oni Cult Anvil does seem quite powerful, and that's pretty late for that, so maybe we speculate on moving into black-red. At this point in the draft, I think I'm going to just stay pretty open, because again, we're just not seeing a lot of white in this pack, and the only black card isn't particularly exciting to me either. Just a lot of mana to have that moderate effect. So I think I'm going to start pushing into maybe red-black here, take a Tawashi Song Shaper. The red-black strategy is going to be focused on casting a lot of artifacts and sacrificing a lot of cheap artifacts. So cards like Tawashi Song Shaper will combo well with the Oni Cult Anvil, just because both of these cards want us to have a bunch of cheap expendable artifacts in our deck. So we have Ironhoof Boar wheeling to us. Very happy with that card. Nice big old haster with trample to end the game, or a combat trick when you don't have the mana for it. Searchlight Companion is probably going to be a really big pickup for the black-red decks, though, because they are about sacrificing artifact tokens, and this will give us a 1/1 flying artifact and a 1/1 spirit, so even if we sack that Searchlight Companion, we'll have a token left behind. That being said, the spirit token is not an artifact, so that is an important thing to point out there. Papercraft Decoy, nice little sacrificial fodder. Lethal Exploit, actually a fine removal spell. 2 mana, -2/-2 at instant speed. Maybe better than the Decoy. Not always going to have the mana to play around with that ability, but it is an artifact creature too. Yeah, Lethal Exploit or Papercraft Decoy here. I'll just play it safe and take the Lethal Exploit, just because I know that card will be fine. I guess we get to take a Kami of Terrible Secrets here. The worst case scenario, it's a 4 mana 3/4. Best case scenario, have an artifact and equipment out and we get to do things. I guess Ninja's Kunai does combo for black-red, because it's an artifact that'll go into our grave for our Oni Cult Anvil. Sure, we'll take the Kunai over the 3/4 there. Now we have a menace creature that reduces the cost of our next spell, or a pretty expensive spirit that can bring an artifact back from the grave. Theoretically, it combos with what we're trying to do in red-black, but it's a lot of mana. Oh, Debt to the Kami is actually interesting. True, yeah, that is interesting. Again, I am reading a lot of these cards, not for the literal first time, but I don't have the experience to just recognize these at point blank, so I'm like rereading a lot of these cards as soon as I see them. And Debt to the Kami seems like fine removal, not great because you don't choose what you're killing, but it's a little bit flexible. If your opponent only has 1 enchantment, then it just goes off, or if your opponent only has 1 creature, either one of those positions, it'll be pretty great. Alright, so this pack is probably pretty easily the rare, and it gives us an opportunity to talk about one of the new mechanics that seems very cool and very powerful, Reconfigure. So this is Lizard Blades, which is a 2 mana 1/1 artifact creature equipment lizard. So what that means is that you can reconfigure it, which is basically, if it were an equipment, that's its equip cost for 2 mana. You then equip this to another creature you control, and the creature that you've equipped gets whatever bonus it says on the card. So this one is equipped creature, has double strike. So you get to use this card as a creature, a standalone little double striking threat to maybe slap some counters onto or just attack all on its lonesome. Or later in the game, once that's just irrelevant, once it's too small of a creature, you can just suit up one of your other creatures to make that creature big enough to get in. So I really like Reconfigure. There's a lot of fancy little cool things you can do with it, and it seems like a pretty powerful mechanic overall, just giving your cards a lot of flexibility, which is what I love to see. Very similar to Channel in that manner. Just love the flexibility of the effect. So you have Unstoppable Ogre if we want to get really aggressive, and that is a good thing to slap Double Strike onto, which is kind of cool. There's also the Peerless Samurai, which seems fine. Nice Menacer, makes our stuff cheaper. Dokuchi Shadow Walker. Seems like a good ninjutsu cost, 4 mana for 5/5. If we return an unblocked creature we control to our owner's hand. There's that Searchlight Companion, though, which I am interested in for red-black, and that will also make cards like Dokuchi Shadow Walker better, because then we have a flying creature to get in unblocked, and once it does, we bounce it back to our hand, and then we can recast it, get another one out of it later. Kind of like just scooping up a Searchlight Companion here, actually. But yeah, it definitely feels like white is getting pretty heavily drafted. Now we just see the Katana and that's it. So I think I am pushing more towards Rakdos than Orzhov, like I was initially considering. And I think I'm happy to take another Ironhoof Boar here, although Seismic Wave seems pretty powerful. 3 mana at instant speed, you get to deal 2 damage to any target and 1 to each non-artifact creature target opponent controls. So this is like 3 mana instant, 3 damage to a non-artifact creature, which is fine, but sometimes it also just blows up a bunch of other stuff. Sometimes you get to use this post-combat and really screw up any combat math they made, like if they blocked your 3/4 with their 3/4, then all of a sudden that dies alongside whatever you're killing with the wave. There's a lot of positions where you can turn this into a very valuable card for you, so I'm going to take the Seismic Wave over the Ironhoof Boar there, but I would be excited to have another boar in the deck. So Virus Beetle is a nice, very expendable little artifact creature to sacrifice. Gets its value right when it enters the battlefield. Also a great creature to bring back to your hand with a ninjutsu effect to replay and get the enter the battlefield effect again. Invoke Calamity doesn't seem great to me, just a very restrictive cost, and you have to have a bunch of instants and sorceries in your grave to get good value off of it. And other than that, some pretty expensive little tricks and stuff in red. So the Ember Keeper is probably my second favorite card. But I like the Virus Beetle a little better for being an artifact creature for the kind of red-black artifact deck. What do we have here? We have a Network Terminal to help splash. We have Experimental Synthesizer. Another one of these artifacts that has a good ability when we sacrifice it, allowing us to get a little 2/2 Samurai, as well as potentially draw a card. We exile the top card of our library, and we can cast it until the end of that turn. Yeah, I think Experimental Synthesizer is just another good little sack outlet. And if it leaves the battlefield for any reason, you get to exile the top card and potentially do something with this. So we can sack this to an Oni Cold Anvil, and then we're still holding up all of our mana for whatever we exile off the top with it. So that's actually a pretty cool combo altogether. Kami's Flare is going to be a premium red common in the format, as it always is. Just 2 mana instant speed, 3 to target creature, planeswalker. Always going to be a really high pickup, so I think we have to take it here, even though there is a cool artifact creature to try to pick up here, the Mukotai Ambusher. Ninjutsu for only 2 mana for a 3/2 lifelinker. Pretty cool card. It's also an artifact creature. Does combo with the deck, but this is just really efficient removal. Always just a really high pickup in limited. Another Tawashi Songshaper is cool here. Although there's also Roadside Reliquary, which we can cycle to draw a card. Anytime we control an artifact, just 2 mana tap, draw a card. 2 mana tap, sacrifice, draw a card, I should say. And if we control both an artifact and enchantment, we draw 2, which is insane. Undercity Scrounger is going to be really cool for the red-black sack decks as well. It gives you really expendable tokens to sacrifice. These treasure tokens we can start turning into 1/1s with the Oni Cold Anvil. I actually might take the Undercity Scrounger here just because it's such a good combo with that Anvil that we have. It probably just works well with our theme in general. Let's go ahead and take a look at our curve here a bit. Yeah, our curve does not look that bad, although I do want to make sure to take my like random equipment and removal spells and put them to the side because they're not going to be cast on that turn. But we'll just slam an Oni Cult Anvil down turn 2. Slam any of these creatures down turn 2. So I'm going to take another Gravelighter here. But we're at the point in the draft where I am definitely committed to Rakdos. We've got a good amount of creatures, good amount of non-creatures. So now I really want to, well, 9 and 9, we have an even split right now. We definitely want more creatures then. But yeah, this is definitely the point in the draft where I start looking at the curve and considering what I need to do to really like make the deck kind of tick and operate well. What is it really missing? Because I'm no longer at the point where I'm looking at all of the colors of cards, because I'm like, all right, I'm committed. We're Rakdos now. So now every time we just need to really look at the black-red cards and see what fits any holes in what the deck's doing. So since we already have 2 debt to the Kami, we'll definitely pick up this random big dork that can ninjutsu out. We have a lot of non-creature stuff, and the Shattered States is a very expensive non-creature card. It does turn into a creature eventually, but super expensive. 5 mana, you eventually get a 3/3. Don't love that card. I'll just take the Kami of Industry instead. Again, that Saga is just super expensive, so I'll take the Aki Ember Keeper here. And then I guess we'll take a Kaito's Pursuit, although not super looking to play that, nor the Reckoner Shakedown. They're just more little discard cards. I don't tend to love running those. All right, so now we are in pack 3, and we have some really solid options. There's another Experimental Synthesizer, a nice little draw spell for red. Also, just combos well with the Rakdos thing we have going. There's Twisted Embrace, which is going to be a decent removal spell. If your opponent has instant speed removal, you can really get destroyed because you try to cast this and they respond by removing whatever you target, and then it does absolutely nothing and you lose whatever you targeted. So that's the big downside of Twisted Embrace, but anytime they don't have instant speed removal, it's going to be great. That being said, we're doing solid on removal. We have Kami's Flare, Lethal Exploit, Seismic Wave, and Soul Transfer. So I'm not sure how much we need it. That being said, we don't have a lot of modified creatures for Upriser Renegade, so it's really between Experimental Synthesizer and Twisted Embrace. I'll just take I'll take a first Twisted Embrace here over another Synthesizer. So what do we have now? Another Gravelighter. We could just run a million of these, which I wouldn't be too unhappy with, but this Saga actually seems like the stone cold nuts. Life of Toshiro Umezawa. It is a 2-mana 2/3 eventually, but the first 2 turns, you get to choose out of just a myriad of flexible abilities. Give one of your creatures +2/+2 till end of turn, give one of their creatures -1/-1 till end of turn, or gain 2 life. So if you manage to kill a card with this, you just have an excellent deal. You've killed one of their creatures, and you've gotten a 2/3 out of it eventually, and probably gained some life in the middle there. Anytime you don't kill something with it, it's just fine, but anytime you do, you're living the dream. I think Life of Toshiro Umezawa probably going to be pretty good. Hopefully going to be pretty good. So now we have Circuit Mender, which is going to be really fun to sacrifice to Oni Cult Anvil or a Gravelighter or anything like that, because we draw a card when we sacrifice it. It's also fine to trade it off or whatever, and then bring it back with Kami of Industry. You get its Enter the Battlefield effect again, and its Death ability again. So that's pretty cool. So like that, but what is Invoke Despair? 5 mana, target opponent sacks a creature. If they can't, they lose to life, draw a card, then repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker. That seems really color restrictive for what it is. It's probably fine, but I'm not going to get that bold with it. I'll just take the card that I know is going to synergize well for us here. All right, we have another Twisted Embrace. That'd be okay. There's Nezumi Prowler. This actually seems like a really cool trick. It's also an artifact creature, which is excellent for us, and just a 2-mana 3/1 to get aggressive with if you're not using the ninjutsu ability. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets Death Touch and Lifelink till end of turn, being able to ninjutsu that, so you're doing it at instant speed out of nowhere. Your little 1/1 Virus Beetle has traded up into something. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm all for the Nezumi Prowler here. We'll see how it works. Ooh, another sacrifice outlet here. That's probably going to be my pick. But we'll take a look at the other stuff. A 1-time sack on Reckoner's Bargain. Pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. But I think I'm more into the Dockside Chef here. 1 mana for a 1/2, so it blocks 1/1s all day long. And for only 2 mana, you can sacrifice an artifact or creature to draw a card. It's a really good combo with Undercity Scrounger. Really good combo with Oni Colt Anvil. If we get any of that stuff that's constantly producing artifact tokens, then we're really just living the value dream. So pretty into the Dockside Chef here. It also gives us an enchantment, which is helpful for some of our cards that care about having an enchantment and artifact down. Like the Kami of Terrible Secrets here that we might scoop up. 16 creatures. Doing fine. Guess we could take this 1-drop here. Each opponent loses a life, you gain a life. It's eventually 1 mana 2/2 with a menace. That'll be on turn 3 that it's ready. Kind of a 3 mana 2/2 menace at the worst. Sure. Maybe the Energy Blade is good, but it looks really slow to me. I haven't read it too much. We're only a 2-color deck. We probably don't need Bloodfell Caves, but we could take it for some mana fixing here. Most of our costs are not super color restrictive. The only ones we have are Soul Transfer and Twisted Embrace are kind of hard to cast. That's about it, though. I might just take another Virus Beetle. Although we have a lot of 2-drops, I guess we get to take out the Aki Ember Keeper if we grab another Virus Beetle, and I'm down for that. Just makes more sense for the deck. Now we have a Ninja's Kunai, a Gift of Wrath, Lethal Exploit again. So Lethal Exploit, Gift of Wrath, Ninja's Kunai. These all seem fine. Guess I'll take another Kunai. I don't know. It's definitely slower than the Lethal Exploit, but potentially synergizes with Oni Colt Anvil, Kami of Industry, Undercity Scrounger. Actually, it doesn't work with Undercity Scrounger. That one only cares about creatures dying. So now, Chain Flail Centipede, interesting reconfigure card. It's also an artifact creature, which is helpful for us. Bronze Cudgel seems like it's going to cost a lot of mana to make that even just like fire breathing. I'll take a Chain Flail Centipede. Hold the alt keys here, see if I own any of these. I own nothing. I don't know why I thought I would own something this set just came out. Oh, it does keep track of stuff that you just drafted, so that's cool. Guess we'll try out a Clawing Torment potentially. We've got a lot of Ninja's Kunai already. Let's take a Reckoner's Bargain, and I might actually play that. 2 mana, second artifact creature, draw 2. Like that's Altar's Reap or whatever. That's been in a lot of draft formats and has been fine. Oh, we get the Bloodfell Caves last pick, so anybody who wanted me to draft the mana fixing, we still got it. We wield it. All right. I am excited for this format. I really love artifact decks and stuff. And there's definitely multiple different kinds of artifact decks you can go for. Blue-white in the format cares about vehicles. Pumped for that. That seems cool. Blue-red in the format cares about artifacts in general. Has like artifact cost reduction spells. And then black-red, as you can see here, cares about sacrificing artifacts. So all of those color pairs seem really cool to me in the format, and I'm very excited to draft them. Probably too much. So we have 53 cards here. We get to cut 13, and I'm just going to kind of soul read it here because, again, very early in the format. Once I get more of a feel for the cards, I'll know for sure what I feel like worked well and didn't work well. This can be played as a 2 mana pump. That can be played as a 4 mana ninjutsu. Liking our curve a lot. 16 creatures here, 17 non-creatures. Definitely a lot of non-creature stuff in here. We could probably cut the debt to the Kami. We have Twisted Embrace, Seismic Wave, Soul Transfer, Lethal Exploit, all that kind of stuff. Seems like probably better removal than that. That being said, there are a lot of enchantment creatures and artifact creatures in the format, so it is important to more highly consider cards like Debt to the Kami. Maybe not exactly this card, but any card that says destroy an artifact or enchantment goes up a lot in value in this format. There's tons of enchantments, tons of artifacts, tons of enchantment creatures, tons of artifact creatures, so you can often just blow up a creature with a naturalized style effect that destroys an artifact or enchantment. As you can see here, we have, we have 2 enchantment creatures here. Actually 3 of them. because 2 of them are Saga creatures, one's the Dockside Chef, and we have a ton of artifact creatures. We have Prowler, Double Virus Beetle, Iron Apprentice, Ironhoof Boar, Tawashi Songshaper, Lizard Blades, Searchlight Companion, Circuit Mender, Undercity, Scrounger, Chainflail Centipede. So yeah, artifact enchantment removal, definitely solid main deckable cards in this format. I don't think I want Clawing Torment. That seems pretty specific. I might not even want the Kunai, because even without the Kumai, we have Twisted Embrace, Soul Transfer, Seismic Wave, Kami's Flare, and Lethal Exploit. It's 5. Yeah, let's cut all that and see how many more we have left to cut. Cut 3 more cards here. Could cut a land, and Experimental Synthesizer does theoretically help with that, because we could just drop this turn 1 or 2 and just hope to have a land on top. And even if we don't, it does dig us 1 card deeper, so we're 1 card closer to drawing a land. Ideally, that's not when you want to play this. You want to wait till like turn 4, because the vast majority of our deck costs 3 or less. So turn 4, we would then, before we play land for turn, we just cast this, and then if it's a land on top, we play that land for turn. And if it's anything that costs 3 or less, then that's just our play for the turn. We'll just play that card, and that's how you get card draw out of the Experimental Synthesizer. It's basically a 4-drop in this deck, and it's a nice flexible card, because when you want to cast it depends on what the curve of your deck looks like. In this deck, as you can see, the giant chunk of 3 or less, we want to cast this pretty much turn 4 before we play our land every time. That's when we want to go for it. Yeah, sometimes we'll hit a Kami or a Dokuchi, Shadow Walker, but most of the time should be a good deal at that point. And then, of course, the sacrifice ability, we want to wait till we have 6 mana ready, because then we spend 3 for that, and then we can cast anything that costs 3 or less off the top. So I'm pretty happy with a Synthesizer in this deck. And hopefully with Synthesizer and a little bit of card draw from cards like Dockside Chef, we can cut Reckoner's Bargain here potentially, because I do still want to cut some more non-creature stuff. I don't want to go that low on creatures. Although I'm not sure if it's counting the Sagas as creatures here in the 16 count. Let's see if it is. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 17, 18. It is not counting the Saga, so we actually have theoretically 18 creatures if you count Life of Toshiro Umezawa and Okiba Reckoner Raid. So now we definitely kind of look to cut some creatures. So your regular, just like aggressive play dudes and play removal spells draft deck is going to be about like 17 creatures. It's what I tend to go for when I don't know what exactly I want to be doing. So early in the format, that's like a really easy baseline to go with. So that's probably what I'm going to go with here. We don't really have any vehicles to give Menace. Okiba Reckoner Raid might be just a bit more slow and unappealing than I thought. I mean, it's still a good deal for 1 mana. It's just slow at getting you that deal. So what happens if we play this turn 1? We play this turn 1, drain a life from our opponent. On turn 2, we drain a life from our opponent again, and then on turn 3, we'll have a 2/2 Menace out. Yeah, a 3 mana 2/2 Menace is not bad. I think I'm actually going to keep this in here. I think I'm actually going to keep that in here. And then maybe cut like a Virus Beetle, because we just have other great artifact creatures at 2. Because we have Nezumi Prowler, we have Lizard Blades, we have the Song Shaper. Although none of them combo quite as well with Sacrifice or Ninjutsu as the Virus Beetle does. Which I'm kind of into for that reason. Maybe cut one of the 3-drops. And maybe cut 1 land. Oh. Chainflail Centipede seems like probably one of the weaker reconfigure cards, since it's only helpful on attacks. Doesn't really help you on blocks. Even Double Strike can be helpful on blocks. So maybe the Centipede goes out here. I'd really like Gravelighter in this deck. Super good with the Virus Beetles, the Iron Apprentice, the Oni Cult Anvil. Really like Undercity Scrounger in here, good with all those same cards. Circuit Mender again, Searchlight Companion again. All these cards are really good together. Maybe Kami of Industry is a bit expensive, maybe the Shadow Walker is a bit expensive, but I want to have a little bit to do late game other than just 3-drops all day. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and remove the Chainflail Centipede and cut a land and call it a day. So what colors are most prevalent here? We have 14 black cards and 8 red cards, so let's just cut one mountain. Yep, we even have, the other thing you want to consider how many cards of each color you have. You also want to consider when do you need the mana of whatever color. So if you have an even split of black and red cards, which we don't here, but if we did, then we'd want to see which color do we have the most early game drops at, and which color are the late game cards at, and whichever color has the most early game is the color we would want to have more lands of, because we need that land early game. But it just works out really nicely for us here, because our 1 mana cards are black, like half our 2 mana cards are black. So our black cards just happen to be also our early drops and our most prevalent color, and the only color that we have cards that require 2 colored pips on. So double black for Twisted Embrace, double black for Soul Transfer. I guess the Shadow Walker we can ninjutsu out, and we'll be fine. But yeah, bunch of different reasons we want more swamps than mountains, but we still want a lot of mountains. Do we want to cut one more here? That's a potential. We have a lot more black than red. This is 8 red sources, 9 black. We don't need double black that often, but it is going to be really important to have the removal as soon as we can when we have it in hand. I think I will go ahead and go to 7 red sources and 10 black sources. And the Bloodfell Caves is a big help in that, because it's a source of both colors, obviously. All right. I think this is the deck. I am so excited to hop into this format, and if you are watching this on YouTube, know that whenever you are done with this video, I will be streaming tonight all day some more drafts of the format and really hopping in full swing. So I'm just kind of reminding myself of that because I'm super pumped about it. So this is going to be the deck. Let's actually see, do they have in the store the new lands? If they have the new lands, let's scoop them up right now and put them in here, because they are absolutely beautiful. Oh, they do. Oh, where are they? There they are. Oh, that's kind of expensive, but you know, they're so beautiful. Do they come with the card styles too? What is this? Is that like Parallax styles or something? I don't want Parallax styles. I just want the lands. All right. I'm taking the lands because I'm going to draft the absolute heck out of this set, and I'm going to use these lands every time because they are absolutely beautiful. So let's slap on the new lands. And get into some gameplay. 7, 8, 9, and we want 6 mountains. I like the village ones over the just environment ones. I like the ones that have some civilization on them. All right, here we go. I am super happy with where we ended up here. I think it would have been really cool to end up in that white-black deck that cares about artifacts and enchantments, but it did feel like we got really cut off of white there, and that late Oni Colt Anvil to move into red-black, I think it worked out pretty well. Pretty decently well here. We definitely have a lot of synergies here to go after. And I love artifacts, so getting to play just an artifact-centric deck I'm 100% okay with. So pretty great hand here. We only have 2 mana in the hand, but we have the 2-drop combos here to go for. We have a ton of 3 mana cards in the hand, so as soon as we hit 1 more mana, we'll have a lot of options of what we want to do. So a Rabbit Battery, turn 1. I think this card's going to be a super sweet uncommon. This card looks insane. 1 mana for a 1/1 haste, so at worst it's a Raging Goblin. But then, for only 1 red mana, you can reconfigure this onto any of their later game plays, so that basically every creature they play from now on, they can just spend 1 red mana and give it +1/+1 in haste. So for just a 1 kicker cost, all of a sudden, instead of this being a 2 mana 3/1, they could play it as a 3 mana 4/2 haste, which is just incredible. Really nice equipment, this Rabbit Battery. So here comes a Kami's Flare to kill our Virus Beetle. A little sad that we don't get to combo with the ninjutsu anymore with that. But having a nice expendable creature like that pull out a removal spell from our opponent is still a good deal. We made them discard a card and then also discard a Kami's Flare. So play the Searchlight Companion here so we have a good blocker for the Rabbit Battery that also doesn't just get shot by removal like Lizard Blades would here. And now we need to get something to deal with a Bronze Plate Boar. How do we want to do that here? Because this is another great reconfigure equipment. Give something +3/+2 and trample. Quite a lot of mana to reconfigure it, but when you get to that point in the game, being able to stack all your creatures into one monstrosity and keep sending it in, it's going to be really painful. Do we want to just exile that, or do we want a Seismic Wave? Unfortunately, both our creatures are artifacts, so not a great matchup for Seismic Wave. We're not going to do any damage to anything but the boar if we use that. Probably still a good deal just to kill it. Although we could just Lizard Blades here. I guess they don't get that aggressive on us. We could ninjutsu out an Azumi Prowler if we attack with both of these. But then how are we blocking? I guess we just play Lizard Blades. Sure, we can attack in and see if they make a mistake here with their blocks. I doubt they block our 1/1 with the Bronze Plate Board because, yeah, ninjutsu is in the set. So, yeah, they just go for no blocks. Do we do it anyway, or do we save it for a potential later combo? I think we do it anyway, because we get the Enter the Battlefield effect of the Searchlight Companion again next turn, which is going to be pretty sweet. We'll give the Prowler lifelink to be a nice life swing as well. We'll play the Lizard Blades to block the Rabbit Battery. Some pretty nice music. It's a very pleasant board. I like it a lot. A lot of the boards can be a little dramatic, but this one, it's very chill. I love the vibes it's given off. Nice pond. Alright, they do have the removal for the Lizard Blades. It's an X damage burn spell like a fireball. Does extra damage if you have a modified creature. Modified means if it has a +1/+1 counter on it, if it has an equipment on it, if it has anything like that. Alright, so they are going to throw the Rabbit Battery onto the Bronze Plate Boar here. So, Seismic Wave no longer kills it. We're taking 4 a turn. We do outrace them, especially with Searchlight Companion for more creatures. We could even ninjutsu out Dokuchi Shadow Walker to hit for 5, although we'd be using it on a 1/1, so that would die forever. Just hit them for 5 here, but we hit for 8 damage if we do that, actually. It's probably worth it to hit for 8 here. This actually seems really good. Now that I think of it, this is kind of a 4-mana 5/5 haste. In a way, you do have to bounce a creature. That is a cost. Ninjutsu's playing really well so far. Only 1 game in here, but I'm liking it. Even just the big dorky 5/5 with no effects. Ooh, Twin Shot Sniper, that's an excellent deal. It's a 4-mana 2/3 reach, and it does 2 damage to something when it comes into play. So we have a lethal exploit for another -2/-2 card. So that will not kill the boar or anything like that. We do get a free attack here. They could chump block or just take 5. If they take 5, they essentially go to 1 life because of our Seismic Wave. So then we play Searchlight Companion, kill them next turn. So we attack in. Probably chump block here. Yeah, they go ahead and chump block. So the fact that the boar has trample is a little concerning, but we're still at 13 against them at 8. So I think I'm still just playing creatures out here. Getting ready to attack them more. And this gives us lethal next turn. If they don't block our 5/5, we attack for 6 and then hit them for 2 more with the Seismic Wave. Era of Enlightenment. Luckily, it does not gain life right now. First, it scries 2. Then it gains 2 life, and then they get a 2/2 First Striker. So, I mean, 2 mana Scry 2, not that bad of an immediate impact. It just doesn't affect the board here, which is pretty important at our life totals. So 2 to the top. 2 cards in their hand. I feel like we've got a chance of finding lethal here. So the other thing about Reconfigure to mention that's pretty interesting and might come up here is that they can just spend 1 mana to turn this back into a creature. So the Reconfigure cost, that's the cost to equip or unequip it. So now they could, if they want to, unequip it so that they have a 1/1 chump blocker to block our 5/5, and that looks like what they go for. Luckily for us, we do hit the land to go ahead and lethal exploit that, so that if they have nothing else in hand, they are dead on board. Well, not on board. Dead to Seismic Wave. And there we go. That will be our first ever game of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Draft, and a nice win for us. Really off the back of that ninjutsu cost on that 5/5. That really put a ton of damage on the board really quickly. So I think I'm already going up on that card in terms of my card ratings, in terms of my opinion on that. The 4 mana to ninjutsu out 5/5 just hits real hard real quick. I love this hand. We've got a 1, 2, and 3. The problem is Bloodfell Caves comes into play tapped, so we can't curve them out 1, 2, 3. We probably go 1, 2, then play a tapped Caves, holding up an Ironhoof Boar. I think I'm into that. And I would like to apologize. I have been editing my videos a decent bit recently. I've definitely been editing in between games and stuff like that. So if you've gotten used to that, this video might be a little jarring to you. But whenever a new set comes out, I just like to get that video, get the VOD up as quickly as possible. Just get you all the drafts you're looking for as soon as you're looking for them. But tomorrow's video and every other video of the draft format is going to be edited as usual. We'll cut out the downtime between rounds and likely some of the downtime in the matches as well. So Iron Apprentice on our opponent's board makes our Nezumi Prowler definitely look like a much worse attacker, but we do have our Ironhoof Boar in hand to make sure nothing bad can happen against a 1/1. If they play a 2/2 here, then even if we slap +3/+1 trample onto our Prowler, it'll still die to that trade. So mono white so far from our opponent, 2 plains and an Iron Apprentice. Now an Automated Artificer. This adds a mana for artifacts. So 3 mana, we can drop our Circuit Mender here. We could also just attack in, holding up the ability to sack an Iron Apprentice, which is also pretty fancy. We'd kill both their creatures if they double block. That seems like a good deal to me. Kill both their creatures. We lose our Iron Apprentice and our Nezumi Prowler, but we draw a card in the process as well. Seems like a good enough deal to just go for this attack here. Oh, and we do just get the Stone Cold Nuts if we get to keep our Prowler and draw the card. However, they are getting value too. They are getting to put a counter on the Artificer here, make it a 2/4 blocker. It's not that bad of a deal for them, but I think it's a pretty good deal for us. Both players are probably happy in that exchange. Lucky Offering. Destroy an artifact with mana value 3 or less and gain 3 life. Definitely main deckable against our deck. Not sure if I'm at the point where I want to main deck that in this format. But certainly against red-black, red-blue, white-blue, it's always going to have a target. So at least like half the decks, it's definitely good against. So maybe that is the point where you want to main deck it. What do we play now? The Scrounger? To try to combo with the Dockside Chef. Get us to draw more cards. Or do we just play the biggest creature, the 2/3 here? That also blocks their Artificer all day. Sure. Artificer, my apologies. That's gonna keep happening. You gotta deal with the rural inside of me. Listen, I just like fishers. Fishermen are cool. Ooh, Goshintai of Ancient Wars is going to make sure that we're taking damage every single turn, so that puts a clock on us. A really slow one, but it's also a pretty good card at combat, a 2/2 First Striker. Definitely matters on the board. They did not pay the 1. Interesting. They're holding up a 1 white mana instant, the +2/+2 untap something. I don't remember what else that card does. But I know it puts I think it puts a +1/+1 counter and then it untaps a creature. Probably holding that up. We have Dokuchi Shadow Walker if they don't block here. If they do block, just cycle an Ironhoof Boar to kill the Artificer. Or we just kill Goshintai on board. Alright, probably cycling the Ironhoof Boar here. And even if they do the +1/+1 card, we still win this combat. So the 1 white mana +1/+1, we still... Yeah, then it's a 3/5. So if that's what they're holding up, it doesn't work for them here. And we just drop down our Song Shaper. Hey, Mr. DJ, get me the replay or whatever. Return a permanent to its owner's hand. So that's the other part that it does. All right, well, we still trample over for 5. Now they have to spend their next turn recasting that. It doesn't have the +1/+1 counter anymore. Still a solid deal for us, I would say. So instead of removing the Artificer from the board, oh no, oh no. Instead of removing the Artificer from the board permanently, we removed it temporarily and got rid of this Light the Way so we don't have to worry about that as a combat trick later. Alright. So everything's back on board. We just attack with the Circuit Mender again, but now we don't have any way to make it beat the Artificer, so they just block and we bounce off each other. Yeah, there's no real way to get ninjutsu going. I guess maybe they just won't block. We're at 21 life. It's probably not that big of a deal. If we just don't have a 2/3 to block with. Oh, they're not going to block? Alright. Ninjutsu, let's go. And we draw a card when it leaves the battlefield for any reason. So we draw a card from ninjutsu. Oh, that's so good. Circuit Mender. Just awesome with that ninjutsu card. I would also like to apologize for all of my pronunciations. My pronunciations are always terrible, but they're going to be especially bad whenever there's like foreign language stuff like Dokuchi and stuff like that. What was that? What just happened? The Fall of Lord Konda. Exile target creature an opponent controls mana value 4 or greater. Oof. And then this is going to be a 1/3 that draws them a card when it dies. Real good deal for 3 mana. A removal spell plus a 1/3 defender draw card. Now they have a Dragonfly suit out as well. They can crew that for 1 and have a 3/2 flyer to block with. So we have 6 mana now. We can play the Circuit Mender and the Scrounger. Pretty happy to do that, although Virus Beetle's probably solid here. Probably still going to be good next turn. I'll make the most of all of my mana here. Unfortunately, that 2/2 First Striker is really doing its job here, holding off our Song Shaper that could be attacking for 4 this turn otherwise. Scrapyard Steelbreaker. Really like this card. This is probably going to be one of the better red commons. All the cards like this in the past have functioned pretty well, that just have a threat of activation little sack ability like that. So this one, like, it's really hard to block it because your opponent could always just like, oh, I'll just sack my 1/3 and then I'll beat your your double block here you're trying to kill the Steel Breaker with. So really cool card. Nice ability on it. So our opponent does have one card left in hand here, so Virus Beetle. Max value, let's go. Unless it's a 7th land. But hopefully the Virus Beetle does some cool stuff here. And now we get to start doing the Dockside Chef combo too, where this Virus Beetle is going to draw us 2 cards. Because for 2 mana, we sack the Beetle, draw a card. Then we make a treasure token from the Scrounger. Then we can sack that and draw a card later. Voltage Surge. It's an additional cost to sack this spell. They can sack an artifact. Deal 2 to target creature planeswalker. They're going to kill the Dockside Chef here. Which can sacrifice itself. So do we want it to sacrifice itself is the question. We probably sacrifice Virus Beetle and the Chef. Right? Because if I sack the Chef, then I can't make the treasure and then sack the treasure to draw a card. So if I want to use this twice, I have to sack 2 creatures. Because Dockside Chef's going to die anyway, so I could sack the Beetle, make a treasure, sack the treasure, but since the Chef's going to die anyway, it's better to sack the Chef on the second sack. And I think it is good to sacrifice twice here. Yeah, I think I am going to sacrifice the Beetle. Okay, and now we sacrifice the Dockside Chef. So we can keep our treasure token around, since the Chef's dying either way. Yeah, Dockside Chef, definitely pretty great. Ooh, Kami of Industry. A lot of options for it, too. Not like super good options for it. I suppose Circuit Mender would be an incredible option for it if we chump block with that here. Oops. I do want to get my treasure token. Because the treasure tokens are going to play really well with Oni Cult Anvil if we draw into that. I think we have some other cards they'd work well with. Don't recall our exact deck list. Alright. We're definitely not in the winning position here. Our opponent's slower on life than us, but they have a flyer and we don't, and they have quite the board state for blocking. A 2/2 first striker, a 3/4 that threatens to get bigger. They've got the better board state for sure. The game is swinging in their favor, I would say. They are going to send in the Steel Breaker. So we'll probably block with the Circuit Mender to draw another card and then bring it back with Kami of Industry next turn to draw yet another card. And then we have a 3/6 blocker for the Steel Breaker, so they have to sacrifice multiple artifacts to make it big enough to attack into that. Alright, no attacks with the Steel Breaker, unfortunately. Ooh, a Ninja's Kunai, though. So they can deal 3 damage to any target by tapping and sacrificing that Kunai. So a soul transfer here, but we only have artifacts on board. Unfortunately, our enchantment creature has died. So that's just exile a creature. We don't get to use both effects. I guess we could just return a creature instead. If we really want to get Dockside Chef back, but then we do that and they kill it with the Kunai. No cards in their hand here, so do we want a Kami of Industry for an Azumi Prowler, Kami of Industry for an Iron Apprentice, or like definitely not Virus Beetle? You know, maybe Soul Transfer to pick up Dockside would be worth it next turn, because then we'll have more treasure tokens, because something's going to die here. End up with more artifacts out. We could get the Prowler and then give the 2/3 Death Touch lifelink, but then they block their draw card. Seems like a bad deal. We're probably just getting Iron Apprentice. Or we could attack in with Circuit Mender and then see what we want to do. They probably block with the 1/3 here. Because they don't want to trigger Ninjutsu. And they also don't want to kill the Mender. Yeah, so they block with the 1/3. Fair enough. Unfortunately, Soul Transfer can't exile the Dragonfly suit. So that's going to be a big problem for us. Alright. Let's just get some value here. Get a treasure token from the Scrounger, and get a +1/+1 counter from the Iron Apprentice. I think that is our best way to get value here.
Together, we are unstoppable.
Thank you for the follow, Duke of Success. What do we want a counter to be on? They have to sack 2 things to kill Kami of Industry. Throw a counter on Song Shaper, they kill it with the Kunai in response. Throw a counter on Mender, they could kill it with Kunai in response, but then we draw a card. I'm going to put it on the Mender. And we'll make sure to get our treasure here. Maximum value. Alright, Dragonfly suit still coming in hot, definitely shredding us here. 3 damage a turn in the sky is nothing to scoff at. Go Shintai's doing its job too. Extra damage. Ooh, there we go. Searchlight Companion. That's going to be 1 chump block at least. Which is not awesome, but it's fine. If we Soul Transfer to get rid of the Steel Breaker, then they're left with just 2/2s and 1/3s to block with, so we can start attacking with our 3/4 and our 3/6. That might be where we're at with Soul Transfer. Because we can't use it defensively well. Like, we can get rid of Goshintai, I guess, but then we just still don't really have blocks or attacks. I feel like this way we at least have blocks. Again, I guess we could pick up Dockside because we have a lot of mana to draw a bunch of cards off of it and see if we can get an out that way. That might be better. But they're at 12, attacking for 6 a turn. They block their draw card that time. But then they just don't block well. We have 2 treasure tokens for the Dockside as well. But again, I think because they have this Kunai here, like, they're just going to Kunai the Dockside. Let's exile the Steel Breaker. We'll see if they crack the Kunai right now. I probably wouldn't, because you can just re-equip it to something else and crack it later. Probably throw it on the Artificer. Alright, yeah, they're not going to crack the Kunai. Because the only creature can kill can't attack in well here anyway. Alright, so now we start attacking every turn. With these 2. Not really worried about Retribution on the ground, because we've got a 1/4 to block with. Although I'm probably going to tap it for another treasure token here, because I'm obsessed with value. As good of a blocker as it would be. If they attack with Goshintai, we have pretty aggressive attacks back in, so they probably don't. Even if we tap down the 1/4. These treasure tokens are wild. Just like floating balls with some gold in them. I don't even know what they're balls of, like some kind of energy. triangles. Alright, a land from our opponent. They're down to 2 blockers on the ground at 9 life. But they are hitting us for 4 a turn, so we're on a 3-turn clock. Can the kunai hit face? The kunai can hit our face too, which means they're hitting us for even more. Oh my god, and they drew into Kumano Face's Kakazan to do some more damage to us, plus Skyblessed Samurai for a 4/4 flyer. That really speeds up their clock. They kill us next turn. If they get in with Dragonfly Suit here. We get on to 7, and they attack with both of those. Or they could just Ninja's Kunai to put us down to 7 and then attack with both of those. This is really painful. They can even just Kunai the Companion instead. They have a 4/4 to block with now, so we can't even attack in. They just block there, block there. I guess if I attack both, one of them gets in. We don't need any more blockers on the ground. It's the best we can do. Draw a card off of Circuit Mender and hit for 3. But we look very dead next turn. Again, it's not going to be exact lethal because we have the 1 chump blocking flyer. If we didn't have a chump blocking flyer here, we'd be dead. Because then they could kunai us to put us down to 7 and then attack for 7 with 2 flyers. But now either we get to chump block one of the flyers or they have to kunai the companion. If either of those things happen, we go to like 3 life instead of dead. Gives us a shot. Ooh, and lethal exploit to kill their 4/4 flyer. Gives us much more of a shot. Better to kill that than the 3/2 flyer. Yeah, what a draw. What a draw. And the second part of this saga, they have to draw a creature for that to be value. Just puts a +1/+1 counter on the next creature they play. I should stop making treasures now. I should stop making treasures now. Because if they attack with Go Shintai, I don't want to have to block with a 1/1. Because now we're getting to the point where our board might be wide enough. We have 5 creatures, they have 2. That every single creature we have matters for going wider. Alright, past turn, they're on the defensive. We've successfully put them on the defensive here, off of just a great top deck there. Down to 9. So they're at 6 life. They don't have any good blocks for our 3/6. But that's about it. That's the only creature that gets in. I guess they can kill it if they crack the kunai and double block it. But then I get to kill Goshintai, and then the only thing they have left is Dragonfly Suit. If I attack with everybody, they only have 2 blockers. So they go block, block, take 3. I don't think we're at that point yet. Probably next turn we attack all, but for now we attack with Kami again. Actually, next turn they'll have a 2/2 as well, with haste. Send in the 3/6 here. Are they going to trade Dragonfly Suit plus the kunai into it rather than trade Go Shintai into it? I'd be down for that. Then they're down to a couple 2/2s and a 1/3. We just start attacking in the sky instead. Yeah, we'll start attacking in the sky instead. We outrace our opponent by a little bit. Because we're at 9, they're at 6. We're both doing 1 damage to each other each turn. I'm going to stop making treasures now, though, because I need to be able to block 2 2/2s. One of which has first strike. So yeah, we hit them for 1 a turn with our flyer. They hit us for 1 a turn with Go Shintai. Unfortunately, they've drawn into Befriending the Moths now. Give a creature +1/+1 flying till end of turn. 2 attack for a lot. Attack for 3, we're down to 6. Definitely don't chump block there because they're low enough that we have draws that can kill them like Ironhoof Boar and stuff. Especially if we keep as many creatures out as possible. Twisted Embrace. Does Twisted Embrace kill them? I don't think so. And I think we can't attack with a flyer here. Because we can kill Go Shintai with Twisted Embrace. And then they give the Etching of Kumano flying again and attack us for 3 in the sky. They can attack us for 4 total. So unless they have Burn in their hand, we could attack them with everybody here if we Twisted Embrace. Can Twisted Embrace kill them in any way? They have one blocker, block there, take 1, 2, 3, 4. It can't. We're 1 damage off. We are 1 damage off. Right, they block this 2-2. They take 2 in the sky, and then 1 from both of these. We definitely kill Goshintai so that our Song Shaper can start attacking. And this might be really aggressive. Excuse my stomach. But since one of their creatures is going to get flying anyway, I feel like I attack all. Maybe I don't attack with Companion. Maybe I should have put the Embrace on something else here to play it safe. But we still have to kill them. We still have to kill them fast here, because this is going to turn into a 2/4 flyer. I think I just jam, right? I'll jam with these two. This way they might block Song Shaper and we get a kill off of it, because we make a treasure token and they don't expect that. If we attacked all 3, I think they'd definitely block the 1/1, because that's a free kill rather than a free block. Alright, fingers crossed for no burn. If they have no burn, we've got a pretty good chance. If they have no burn, no creature, we just win. Oh no, Ryu Storm's Edge. Whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat phase, they get another combat phase. Alright, well, we wouldn't have died if we didn't attack with Companion, but we'd still be basically dead. Oh no! Is that not a samurai or a warrior? It's not a samurai or a warrior! Oh wow, okay, so they're at 4 life, and life of Toshiro Umezawa gives +2/+2 to a creature till end of turn? For lethal? That's not a samurai or a warrior, oh my god. 4 damage, Exactsies? We were so dead if the game went on another turn. Maybe we weren't. We were pretty dead if we didn't draw that card, because that card was really a big swing for us. Because if we didn't kill them that turn, then they have now a 2/4 flyer as well. So they have a 2/4 flyer, this really terrifying rare, and the 2/2 versus our 2/2 flyer, a 1/4, a 2/2, and a 1/1. I think if they got another turn to stabilize, then their board state's a little scarier than ours, but maybe not to the point where they get to just like attack and kill us immediately, but definitely to the point where the game goes on for a while longer. Excellent draw there. That'll be 2-0. So that Life of Toshiro Umezawa, that one seems sweet because it solves the problem that a lot of these sagas have where they are really, really slow if you draw them late game. That one, it's like, it's an impactful ability late game or early game, which is nice. I really liked our opponent's saga for the same reason, giving +1/+1 flying to one of their creatures for 2 turns. That was pretty scary as well at that point in the game. So really cool stuff. 2-0 to start it off. Alright, we are on the play. Virus Beetle into Gravelighter. Seems like a pretty good 1-2 punch, sick combo. Got a nice Iron Hoof board to try to close out the game. Well, we could also end up just cycling that early. Virus Beetle to force a discard here. And they discard a green card, so they're on Jund, the Jukai trainee, because they've got another Jukai trainee. So we could attack with Virus Beetle, so that if they block it, we draw a card. And then if they don't block, we ninjutsu. Or we could just trade our Virus Beetle into their 2/2 and not draw a card in the process. Or we could just play the Prowler and give this Death Touch attack in and they don't block. And we have a 3/1 to block their 2/2 to trade. I think I want to just trade the Virus Beetle up with Gravelighter. Yeah, that was like a ton of different options very early in the game. So network terminal from our opponents, so they definitely have the mana base for all of the splashy stuff they want to do, which is cool. Draw a card and discard a card late in the game. Pretty good. We don't have any great combos for the Prowler, so I think I might as well just get damage out of it here. It gets a solid combo with Gravelighter, but I think not a good enough combo to convince me not to put an extra 3 power on the board right now. And also gain a couple life in the process. Like 2 mana 3/1 with an enter the battlefield effect of gain 2 life, that's like fine already. What is this thing? Enters the battlefield with a menace counter on it. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a menace counter from it, and if you do, they reveal their hand and you choose an online card. So they make us discard a card off of this forever in exile effect 2, and it's ninjutsu. But it is slow and it's only 3 toughness, so Kami's Flare can kill that. We'll just Twisted Embrace to kill the Blossom Prancer here. Make our flyer better. Attack for a lot. They're down to 12. So scary card, but it's going to be definitely too slow for them here, especially when we have Kami's Flare in hand. Unless they have a haste creature. They like drop a red haste creature off the Bloodfell Caves or something, and then ninjutsu immediately. I'd be sad about that. They'd have to exile the Kami's Flare though, because otherwise we would kill that. So we would probably get to keep our Iron Hoof Boar in hand. Probably. Not sure. Alright, the Biting Palm Ninja has hit the board. They have 3 mana up. Fingers crossed they tap out. So we know they don't have a combat trick to save the ninja. Because I am going to Kami's Flare the ninja no matter what. And I don't want to look stupid when they save it with a combat trick. Alright, Master's Rebuke to kill our flyer. Fair enough. They are not tapped out. And I think I'd rather Lethal Exploit. Because we control a modified creature, an Iron Apprentice here. It's just -3/-3 rather than the 3 damage. Although, which is better to hold for later? I feel like it's better to slam this down, because this is worse if our Iron Apprentice dies. I guess all our creatures would have to die for us not to have a modified creature. Yeah, I think we Kami's Flare. -X/-X makes it more likely that we can kill something and save one of our creatures. Alright. So we have a combat trick and we have -3/-3. Might even just find lethal here off of Iron Hoof Boar. Probably not. They'd have to not block the Prowler and then we do 6 damage there. Actually, no, we have lethal because of these 2 cards together. With Lethal Exploit, we make Blossom Prancer a 1/1. I guess if they choose to gain the 4 life off of Blossom Prancer's ability, they'll live. Okay, they did not gain 4 life. So Lethal Exploit makes it so they have 1 toughness on their board. 1 toughness against 7 power. With Trample, means we win. We just have to wait and see how they block and use our spells accordingly. Give Trample to whatever is blocked. So that's now a 1/1. And now we have... yeah, 5 trampling over plus 1 from Apprentice. Really nice. That game especially showing off the power of Iron Hoof Boar's flexibility. If that were just a 6 mana, 5/4 trample haste with no channel ability, we would be in a much worse position because they're much more likely to stabilize. Because then our -3/-3 spell there on that, we'd have to use our -3/-3 plus trade our 3/1 into that to get it off the board. Then we're left with just a 1/1. And they were about to cast, you know, some big card that returned things from their grave and try to stabilize there. So Iron Hoof Boar doing some great things for us as we head into round 4, 3-0. We're going to be on the play here. Nice turn 2 life of Toshiro Umezawa, so whatever they're doing, we can do something here. Worst case scenario, just gain a couple life till we get the 2/3 out of it. And then the really nice Circuit Mender has played super well, especially with Ninjutsu. That was awesome, because you just get to recast it, but it also plays well with the Sacrifice theme. Would I rather just slam down Virus Beetle here than Life of Toshiro Umezawa? I think I'd rather slam down Virus Beetle first. Because I feel like the +2/+2 to a creature and -1/-1 to a creature effects on Toshiro Umezawa are much more impactful than just the gain life effect. So I'd rather wait to where I can make one of those effects, potentially do something here. This looks terrifying. Should I Kami's Flare this? Return it to its owner's hand. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land from among them onto the battlefield tapped, put the rest into your graveyard. And because you're returning it to your hand, you get access to the channel ability. That's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. I don't know if that's scary enough to flare immediately. It's pretty slow too, right? We've got more removal. We have Life, we have Twisted Embrace, we have Kami's Flare. We have 3 removal spells, so we'll have 2 left after this. I guess Life of Toshiro Umezawa doesn't really count, because it's only -1/-1. I'm scared. I don't know. It's rare. It's spooking me out. I want to kill that. It's just, it's scaring me. Give me the spookies. Well, another rare. Seems pretty good. But so does Twisted Embrace. That rare is much better than the first one they played. That rare is super scary. It's scary enough that I recognize it already. Tatsunari Toad Rider. Oh, 3rd rare. This one blows up our creature when it comes into play. Jesus Christ. This is not looking good. The Toad Rider, it's a 3-mana 3/3. When they cast an enchantment, they get another 3/3 out. And then when they cast enchantments from that point on, they drain us for a life. So kind of 3 mana for 2 3/3s if you have enough enchantments. Unfortunately, rare, we're in a pretty sketchy spot now. Although I guess this one's just a 5/5 menace. It costs 4 to accrue. So it's not the end of the world. It's not the absolute end of the world here. Because this one just has really good immediate impact. What's great about this rare is that it blows up one of our creatures and leaves behind a good vehicle. The vehicle itself isn't the scariest thing in the universe. It's just that they got to make the vehicle and kill one of our cards. Super happy to see them make the 1/1 there, so we have something to blow up with the Life of Toshiro Umezawa. They may not have had the full context of what the card does there, because I'm much more happy to just kill a 1/1 than gain a couple more life here. We're already at 25. Alright, another land for red source. Life of Toshiro Umezawa is coming in. As a 2/3 and Lizard Blades, I'm just going to immediately equip so that they don't die to creature removal. And because we get extra damage out immediately this way. The Lizard Blades, they do 2 damage by themselves as a 1/1 double striker. They also do 2 damage when equipped to Circuit Mender. So I would rather have them equipped here. And they're also insane with Iron Hoof Boar. We can win on the spot, just attack all and cycle. And it looks like our opponent just ran out of stuff to do. Super explosive start from them. But unfortunately, it looked like their hand just ended up being 3 rares and some lands, and then they just drew into a bunch of lands. So pretty bad time for our opponent there. Especially because we did have the removal to just deal with their first several threats. The 1/3 and the 3/3. Probably already feel bad there. So 4-0 now. I was really scared there. I was ready for the 5th just explosive card, just the dream draft from our opponent. Alright, I'll keep this hand. This one seems a little strange, but I'm still into it. I might just go for Lizard Blades turn 2 because it attacks pretty well. We don't have any combos with the Virus Beetle, nothing to try to sacrifice it to or anything. But I'm a pretty big fan of this hand. One of these on turn 2, one of these on turn 3, and then Synthesizer turn 4. Kami of Industry is going to be really nice with the Synthesizer later when we have like a ton of mana. If we have like a ton of mana. We have played the Lizard Blades, which are absolutely adorable. Patchwork Automaton, a 1/1, but whenever they cast an artifact spell, they put a +1/+1 counter onto it. So it will get big. It'll get big pretty quickly. It also has Ward 2, so it costs us more mana to target it. If I had one of my 2-mana removal, I would just cash it in right now. But since we don't, we'll just attack and play our Beetle. And again, since we don't have 2-mana removal, we're going to have to wait till Twisted Embrace. I guess we'd have to wait till turn 4 even to cast 2-mana removal. Ward 2 is pretty big. Yeah, I think I'd take my turn 4 off to cast a 2-mana removal spell on that card, because it just looks pretty explosive to me. Definitely looks like the kind of card I would love to draft around for sure. Discard an Ironhoof Boar. So we got a good hit off the Virus Beetle. Got an actual card to trade off with. Land 3 from our opponent. Tawashi Songshaper makes that automaton a 2/2. Eater of Virtue. Oh lord, oh god. Makes that a 3/3 Eater of Virtue. For those who don't know, it's Bone Splitter with a bunch of extra text. So it's only 1 mana to play and 1 mana to equip for +2/+0. Already a great deal. Bone Splitter was a terrifying limited card. And this is also, when the equipped creature dies, exile it, and whatever's equipped with the Eater of Virtue gains all of those abilities. So, really nice equipment from our opponent. Really scared about that. Do we want to play an Okiba Reckoner raid, or do we want to just synthesize here? This feels too slow. I think I'm just going to synthesize. See what we hit. Most of our decks 3 or less, and if we hit a land, we can do that. Ironhoof Boar, unfortunately, is one of our 6-drops, so we can't do that. So I guess we Reckoner raid now. Probably would rather equip the Lizard Blades onto the Virus Beetle and trade the Virus Beetle into the Songshaper than trade the Blades for the Songshaper. Although I could attack in here, and then if they don't block, I'm moving the Blades to the Beetle. Also, which is pretty cool. If they do block, I'm getting some power off their board, which is going to be important because they're definitely on the aggro here. They have 5 power already, plus a Bone Splitter, an Eater of Virtue. Yeah, I think I will offer the trade just to whittle down their board a little bit. Alright, they're not going to take the trade, so here comes the Reconfigure onto the Virus Beetle to be able to block into the Songshaper and kill it. It'll be a trade, it won't be a free kill. Banishing / to blow up our Virus Beetle. Not great for us because we are taking 7 here, but at least because we reconfigured there, we get to keep the Lizard Blades. Have them use removal on our weaker creature. Twisted Embrace on Lizard Blades is pretty scary. Start hitting for 4, and we get to blow up the Songshaper, and then they have to equip to the Automaton and hit us for 5 a turn. Lower the amount of damage they're doing by quite a bit. I think it's worth it. I guess I could hold Lizard Blades back here to try to trade with the Automaton. The Automaton. I'd also just attack for 4. I'm not going to race well. Actually, yeah, I will. I'll race fine because I have more creatures to play as trump blockers here. And this is going to flip next turn. That's a trump blocker. I think I am going to race here because I'd expect with how quickly they just threw out a Banishing Slash, they probably have more removal in hand, and this plays much better against removal, because at least we're getting some damage off. If they just blow up our Blades. If I just held back and they blowed up our Blades, then we're just crying. We get no value, and still take the full damage here. Alright, tap out for the Scrapyard Steelbreaker, but they do play land for turn to go ahead and still equip the Automaton. Take 6 down to 7. We draw into a Dockside Chef. Just going to make our chump blocks dramatically better. Although I won't have the mana to sacrifice something to it immediately if I play the Scrounger this turn too, and I really want to play the Scrounger because it blocks the Steelbreaker well, potentially. Chef's pretty good with Synthesizer too. I think I want to play the Chef and the Scrounger, and we're just going to go for a full-on chump block for a turn here. Although if they don't play another artifact, I can block an Automaton with Lizard Blades and trade there. And then we just try to outvalue our opponent, go for the long game from that point on. Yeah, because they've got one card left in their hand. We're going to have a Dockside Chef on board, especially with an Undercity Scrounger at its side. If we can survive and just make this game go long, we can just outdraw our opponent to make sure we still have stuff to do for the rest of this game. So we're actually probably just trying to take every trade we can if they go for it here. Yeah, we can kill one of these with the Lizard Blades, which is better to kill. Probably the Automaton, and then we chump block the Steelbreaker. Combat Trick in their hand would be really explosive. Be very bad for us. If we try to block Steelbreaker with Lizard Blades, they can like sacrifice the equipment, and then it will be like a temporary 5/4 instead of a temporary 5/5 instead of a permanent 5/4. But that would be big enough to kill Lizard Blades without losing their creature, so I don't think I want to take the block there. I think I'd block there, and then I'd chump block here. I mean, I guess I could triple block there, but then again, they could just sack artifacts and ruin the plan. It's an Ironhoof Boar. It's not lethal if it is. Alright. So that's going to happen. A little scared of an Ironhoof Boar in their hand, because they considered that there and they didn't go for it, and then they'll have 6 mana on tap next turn to just play the big old haster. Just slam us, but luckily we'll have a 3/6 to block that one time. Actually, we could just... Oh my god, yeah, we could just know for sure what's in their hand, because we can just make them discard a card. It's definitely what I should do here. 100% what I should do here. Because the Economy of Industry makes us sacrifice whatever we return in our end step, so if we tried to return Lizard Blades or something, it would just be gone anyway. We'd get 1 good attack out of it, maybe attack for 4 this turn, total. Okay, it's just a mountain in their hand. We definitely attack with Virus Beetle, then that's going to die to the Spire of Industry. And then we tap the Undercity Scrounger to make a treasure here, so we have that around for the Dockside Chef. And now, if they draw removal, they kill Kami of Industry, we end up having to chump block with Dockside Chef. That's pretty bad. I guess if they draw removal, they'll have no cards in hand, so we know they can't hit for lethal. They could attack with this, but then the only way to buff it is to sacrifice the thing that's currently buffing it. So they don't have a way to do more than 5 damage with Steelbreaker here. So it's got to be just like removal. Alright, perfect. Now we have the Dockside Chef combo going off. So we draw 2 off Synthesizer? No, we probably want to sack this for a Samurai at some point rather than draw a card off of it. So let's sack the Treasure. Try to stabilize with a bunch of card draw. I think that is our plan. Pass turn here. Holding up double sacrifice if something weird goes on. I would rather not sacrifice any of these cards. Once we get a 2/2 Knight, then we'll have some great stuff. Thank you for the follow, Raf89. I realize I'm recording, but I'm trying to get into the streaming mindset because it's been a little while. And I'm going to do a big stream tonight. Alright, land for turn. We maybe should have just popped the synthesizer last turn and just accepted that we weren't going to draw a card off of it. We weren't going to cast whatever we exiled off of it. Because we can make a 2-2 with it, and then we can sack that 2-2 to draw a card. Kami's Flare to kill the Dockside Chef, so we definitely sack the Chef to draw a card here. Do we sack anything else first? I don't think so. Right, because I definitely don't want to sack the Kami, and if I sack the Scrounger, I'm not getting a treasure token anyway. I can't get a treasure token until the Chef's already died. I guess I could sack the Synthesizer and not get a 2-2 or an exile off of it, but that seems really bad. So let's sack the Dockside Chef then to draw a card. Alright. So they had the removal here, but luckily we still get to just keep our 3-6 out. And our 1-4 as a backup plan. Going for big value plays here at the end of this game. To hopefully outpace our opponent in the card draw department. As I've been saying, next turn we're going to have a ton of mana thanks to this treasure token plus playing another land per turn, so Experimental Synthesizer, we should definitely be casting something off of that. So we're going to get a 2-2 out of it and draw a card out of it. So it's going to be a really good deal. So unless we hit our second Iron Hoof Boar, we get to cast anything else in our deck off the Synthesizer, even our 5 mana stuff. Because we'll have 7 mana, 3 spent on the Synthesizer, means we'll have 4 left, and then we play land for turn as well. Yep, Synthesizer, let's go. Get a 2-2, draw a card. Super good deal. See what we've got coming up here. Another land. Well, glad I didn't play land for turn then. That's why you want to pop that before playing the land. Unfortunately, that means even though we've drawn a lot more cards than our opponent, still kind of 50-50 on who draws something important first. A few more cards than our opponent. That is what we hate to see here. Opponent is winning the top deck war against our best efforts. Take 5. We crack back for 2 with Vigilance, and then we can still chump block with it at a later time. We do die to anything that does 3 to any target, which there are some cards in the set that do. Could chump with the Scrounger. I think I want to just crack back for 3. We'll go to 2. See what they've got here. In the future. Oh, what a good draw. Grave Lighter. Sacrifice our pacified creature. They have to sacrifice their Steelbreaker. What a great draw. What just an excellent draw here. Definitely makes up for the little bit of lands we have. Attack 3. Next turn, we attack 5. I think 1 damage is more important than 1 treasure token here. I attacked with the Scrounger. No! Oh. Oh, wait, what? Oh my god, we're not dead! I was going to say that's one of the few cards that does 2 damage to somebody's face. I guess our opponent didn't realize that, and we've got a really big chance now. 2 to any target could have dealt 2 damage to us. Super luckily for us, everyone is still learning the format. So that is going to be another victory for us, still undefeated so far. almost died because we didn't chump block with that 1-4, but we still make it to 5 wins now, basically breaking even. Actually, no, actually breaking even, right? Because this isn't double feature drafts where the value sucks until you get 6 wins. This is Premier Draft. We are actually going up 100 gems by going 5 wins. Excellent first draft in the format. 5-0 so far. Whatever happens now, I'm super happy with it. And yeah, this deck's been a lot of fun. The format's been a lot of fun so far. Dockside Chef has been awesome, and I am happy to play it again here. Oh, this Grave Lighter is going to be a little awkward because we really don't want to sacrifice the Dockside Chef or the Grave Lighter. Moth Rider Patrol, the turn 1 play from our opponent. Nice, we draw a good turn 2 play. The Tawashi Song Shaper. That gives us a great card to decide to sacrifice to the Grave Lighter if we want to trade creatures off. Turn 2 from our opponent. They are on blue-white, which is likely the vehicle's strategy. So we can attack in with the Song Shaper and offer the trade with the Samurai, and if they take the trade, then we play Grave Lighter and draw a card, and if they don't take the trade, then we play Grave Lighter and force the trade. I think that's what I want to do here. Alright, they are not going to take the trade with the Selfless Samurai. So the Selfless Samurai gives an attacking Samurai or Warrior lifelink every time it attacks alone. So really good with the Moth Rider Patrol. That's going to be quite a life point swing in their favor. So I assume here they're going to sacrifice the Selfless Samurai, but they might sacrifice the Moth Rider Patrol. Then we don't have to worry about flying from them. That would be fair enough, because we do have a 2-2 flyer out now, so if they don't have removal, probably the choice. Alright, yeah, sack the flyer, keep the Selfless Samurai around. The other thing the Samurai does is they can sacrifice it to give another creature indestructible till end of turn. So it works as a protection spell for their biggest creature later in the game. So a pretty threatening card altogether, the Selfless Samurai. Makes it really hard to race with that lifelink, and then just protects your first really scary threat from removal. For free. They don't have to pay any mana for the sacrifice ability. So Spirited Companion from them that turn, definitely like that card. Nice bit of card draw there. I think I like Iron Apprentice and Virus Beetle here, setting up for some good sacrifices to the Dockside Chef in the future. And also some annoying blockers they're not going to want to attack into too hard. Alright, so our opponent discards a plains there, and it is now their turn. 4 mana now. What color is this Haven on? Blue. I wish they made these more obvious, the lands like Shimmerdrift Vale and Uncharted Haven, where you choose a color when you play them. I wish they would just make the borders like the islands, based on the color that you chose. Just make it so the borders are blue. That would be really nice. Oh god. Double Michiko's Reign of Truth, giving double +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Artifact or enchantment you control for a massive 7-point life gain swing here. So we kind of have to chump block too, right? Otherwise we go to 12. Although I guess we get to chump block in the future if we hold up Dockside Chef mana. We get to chump block and stop their life gain and draw a card. Sure, let's go to 12. But this is painful. This is not an ideal start for us here. They get to do that again next turn for even more. Alright, we have a Twisted Embrace coming up now. I think we really want the Synthesizer to hit a land, and if it doesn't, then it still got us closer to hitting land. So we'll play the Synthesizer, and we still have enough mana to sack one thing to the Chef, which is the plan. Alright, we do hit a land. Perfect. Thank you so much, Experimental Synthesizer. I appreciate it greatly. Attack with what we can attack with, and then leave the 2 chump blockers back. So one of these blocks that absolutely massive Selfless Samurai this turn. And draws us a card. Turns into a creature with +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment you control. They're going to have 2 of those out, plus Spirited Companion. They're both going to be 3/3s. Yeah, that card has done some work this game. Do we want to get a +1/+1 counter right now? On our flyer? I guess? The sooner the better. The more damage it'll be. We stop all of their life gain by sacrificing here, which is also nice. Draw another Virus Beetle. It's another perfect little chump blocker. Moonfolk Puzzlemaker. 3 mana, 1/4 flyer. Whenever it becomes tapped, scry 1. That can block our Gravelighter all day long, unfortunately. Do we just make our flyer even bigger with Twisted Embrace here? Then we don't have the mana to sack something. Although they won't have a massive swing next turn. They're going to have a couple creatures with Summoning Sickness, a 1/1, and they're going to have a 2/2. So they could attack for a 2 life gain. Yeah, maybe we just Twisted Embrace the Puzzle Maker. I feel like we don't have to, though, so we should probably just Virus Beetle instead. Just in case they've got some big bomb left in their hand. We can have a Twisted Embrace at the ready for that. Oh wow, we got rid of a great creature here. A 3/3 flyer that potentially draws and discards some cards. Cool. Not a bad hit off of the Virus Beetle. That means whatever's left in their hand is very good. It's better than a 4 mana 3/3 flyer with a little bit of card filtering attached. Unfortunately, that is a 4th artifact, that Moonfolk Puzzlemaker, so these Portraits of Michiko are insane. Oh no. Alright. That's Tezzy Wezzy.
You want to fight?
Their artifacts' activated abilities are cheaper. They can make one of their artifacts a 4/4. Permanently. They make it a 4/4 permanently, so they just make their Moonfolk Puzzlemaker a permanent 4/4 flyer. Rough. We're going to have to Twisted Embrace Tezzeret, because the problem is, even if they minus here to make Puzzlemaker some big indestructible monstrosity, I can't just Twisted Embrace, kill that, and then attack Tezzeret, because then they can just sack the Samurai to make it indestructible, and then I don't kill Tezzeret. I guess if we hit another mana, we could use Twisted Embrace plus Ironhoof Boar to kill Tezzeret. Or just Ironhoof Boar. Right, because it's 6? No, we can't double them up, because if we Twisted Embrace and then they sacrifice in response to give Puzzlemaker indestructible, we attack at Tezzeret with a 4/4 that we can give +3/+1 trample. We hit Tezzeret for 3 and Tezzeret's still around, so I think we have to Twisted Embrace just to kill Tezzeret. I don't think we get to aim for the Puzzlemaker here. I think we have to just aim for Tezzeret. Because the Selfless Samurai's ability is just too annoying. Goodbye, Tezzeret. And we're at 12 life, facing a couple 4/4s and some terrifying stuff, so I think I want to hold back our Gravelighter. Like, we're not going to outrace them with the lifelink stuff they've had going on. We need to just try to survive for a little bit and maybe get back into the game with Dockside Chef value. Yikes. Mindlink Mech, a 3 mana 4/3 flyer that they have to spend 1 to crew. They crew it for 1, but the thing is, whatever crews it, the Mindlink Mech becomes a copy of. So if they crew it with Selfless Samurai, the mech will have all of the Samurai's abilities. If they crew it with Portrait of Michiko, it will have all of Michiko's abilities, and it will be a 9/8. So, pretty terrifying. Surprised by no attack there. I think we still just sack a beetle, right? Game's looking pretty over. We would have to find a way to kill all of the portraits and the Mindlink Mech. And to do that, we have to get through Selfless Samurai. We have to get through Selfless Samurai's effect here. We're going to need more flying chump blockers, so I think we have to play Gravelighter over Ironhoof Boar. Would we rather draw 2 cards or force them to sack 1? I think we'd rather draw 2 cards, because if we force them to sack, then they sack a 1/1. So let's go ahead and use Dockside Chef so that we draw a card and kill this beetle, and then we draw another card when we play Gravelighter. Because the other option is to play Gravelighter, and then we sack the beetle to the Gravelighter, and they sack a Spirited Companion. So the question is really, would I rather draw 1 card or kill their 1 Spirited Companion? Maybe it would have been better. Ooh, Oni Colt Anvil. That's pretty sick. Whenever one or more artifacts you control leave the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1, sack an artifact, deal 1 to each opponent, you gain a life. Should probably sack the Spellbinder just to get this thing started. Although then we don't draw a card off of it. Anyways, what I was going to say is there's actually a decent argument for making them sack Companion, because I forgot that would reduce the Portraits of Michiko by 1, which would reduce the Mindlink mech by 1 if they copy a portrait with it. So it actually probably could have been worth it to go ahead and do that. One doesn't... I mean, I guess it chump blocks a 5/5. It does matter here. Sorry, whatever's on top of our deck. Sorry, Mountain. We will not play you today. Alright, they're going to go ahead and crew with the Puzzle Maker to scry 1 here. Yep, and here comes the 9 damage attack with the Portrait of Michiko. We can go to 4 or we can chump. Go to 4. Show me the combat tricks. No combat tricks. Alright. Soul Transfer. Exile target creature or planeswalker and return something from grave to the board. Or to our hand, right? To our hand. We get a Virus Beetle again, get their last card in hand. Dang it. Exile creature, planeswalker. Can't hit the vehicle. Vehicles are being brutal. Probably get an Iron Apprentice actually here. Because then we can make these Gravelighters big enough to double block and kill the Mindlink mech, but then we die to everything else, so I guess it doesn't matter too much. But I think that's probably better than making them discard a card here. Although, could be a good card, that 1 card. We don't know. We do have Ironhoof Boar's ability. Yeah, we have Ironhoof Boar's ability for trying to kill a Mindlink mech. So, exile a Portrait. Get a Virus Beetle. Hold up Ironhoof Boar's ability. We only get a 1/1 off of the Oni Colt Anvil if we do it during our turn, so we definitely make sure to sack something during our turn here. And I'm going to do it with the Oni Colt Anvil's ability instead of Dockside Chef's ability, because that way I get to hold up the 2-mana channel ability on Ironhoof Boar. Otherwise, I'd love to just draw a card, get another 1/1, because draining them for life doesn't matter too much here. I mean, it does gain us 1 life, which is nice. So let's swap out our 1/1 tokens here. Alright, well, just getting rid of 1 Portrait of Michiko makes their board state look quite a bit less scary, although they did just scry a card to the top here. It's still definitely very threatening. And scrying 1 at the top, that makes me horrified. I mean, there's good stuff coming. What good stuff do you have here? So how big is this now that we got rid of one of those? An 8/7. So we can block with the 4/4 Gravelighter and channel the boar. Depending on what the last card in hand is. Actually, no, they still have the Selfless Samurai. The Selfless Samurai, again, as I said before, but I just totally forgot about by this point, just the free sack ability to make their biggest threat something we have to kill twice. A really threatening vehicle like Mind Link Mech that we can't kill with removal that kills creatures, because it's just not a creature during our turn. So it's already really hard to kill, now it just gets that much harder to kill. We have to find a way to kill it twice. Moon Snare Specialist. When it enters the battlefield, return a creature to its owner's hand, return Gravelighter. And yeah, we just didn't even have a shot to try to kill it the one time here. Chump block the big old portraits. And draw a card then. Gain a life. Better than a swamp or a mountain at this point, I think. Although 9 mana would give us boar plus Gravelighter, so maybe not. Death Touch Lifelink on a Zombie Prowler is interesting. We can't flash it in, we can only just ninjutsu it. So we can't do that when we would need it, which is on blocks. So we Gravelighter and then sack the 1/1 to that ability? Or do we draw a card off Gravelighter instead? I think this time I'm going to make them sack the Spirited Companion. I feel like I probably should have done this the first time. Just making the portraits just a little bit smaller. But we are forced into playing the Flyer, so we can Trump block the Mind Link Mech, which means we can't play the Ironhoof Boar here. We could play the Prowler. What does that even do for us? Not a lot. Just a 3/1 on the ground. I think I'll still play it. Guess we get to attack with a Virus Beetle if we want. But at 5 life, we probably have to just hold everybody back anyway. So let's pass here. I'm surprised we're still in it. Whatever happens now, we lasted a while, which is nice. Ooh, Dragonfly Suit. I think that means we're dead. I guess, again, not quite. We chump block the big one and take 4 from the other 2. So not quite. We go to 1 life, though. If they attack with all of them. Oh yeah, and it's summoning sick for now, so they can't even attack with it currently anyway. Another scry to the top, so some more good stuff coming from our opponent. Go ahead and sack this Gravelighter, draw a card. Dockside Chef is trying their hardest. They're doing what they can for us. Kami of Industry. Draw 2 cards off Synthesizer. It's kind of cute. But we won't have the mana to play them all anyway. Get a counter off Iron Apprentice. It's a big old 3/6 on the ground, which isn't that helpful. I like Circuit Mender to gain some life here. We still just die in the sky, right? We have to draw into a Flyer immediately, or we're dead in the sky. So I need to crack the Mender to draw a card, and then we can draw 2 that way. I don't even know if I have Flyers left, because we used both Gravelighters already. Let's just find out here. Pretty sure this is the turn we scoop. So let's draw 2. Big old ninjutsu. Life of Toshiro Umezawa. Doesn't do anything currently. Gains us a couple life, but not enough to survive. And that's all the card draw. I guess we can sack one more. One card deeper. Ooh, Seismic Wave. Not enough to kill the big flyer. So not enough to save us here. We don't even have the mana to play it anyway. So that is going to be game. 5-1. Really nice blue-white vehicles deck. A big bummer not having the instant speed removal to be able to deal with the vehicles. That was probably one of the biggest downsides of that game. But the Selfless Samurai, that was definitely a real big overperformer there as well. They gained a lot of life off that card, and it was always just threatening to save the Mind Link mech, even if I found a way to kill it. So 5-1 here. Really nice blue-white vehicles deck from that opponent. Really nice stuff. God, I'm so pumped about this set. I'm so ready to draft like blue-white vehicles now. I want to try that stuff out. A lot of those vehicles are just really cheap to crew, and the flying is really threatening. We saw the 3-mana 3/2 flying vehicle in an earlier round, and it was very scary in that round as well. Spirited Companion, of course. It's another card we picked up early in the draft when we were thinking about going white-black. Pretty pumped about that card. I'm ready to draft a lot of copies of that. Good boy. The adorable doggo. All right, here we are now. Round 7, 5-1. We're going to be on the play. We've got Life of Toshiro Umezawa, Kami's Flare, and Twisted Embrace. Well, we're just going to slam down Life of Toshiro Umezawa as our first creature and hold up some removal. See how things progress from there. Turn 1 Rabbit Battery from our opponent. This is going to be the best feeling Life of Toshiro Umezawa ever. -1/-1, that Rabbit Battery. Get that out of here. Card is too good. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it in my life. Experimental Synthesizer's the turn 2 play. They're hoping to draw land here, and they have. Go ahead and gain 2 life. It's our only option here, and we'll slam down a Lizard Blades, which they will probably have the removal for, to get right back at us for our Toshiro Umezawa, pulling off some sick removal. Alright, no removal yet, which means Lizard Blades gets to hit for 2 here at least. And it's going to be really threatening to reconfigure that onto a Tawashi Song Shaper, because that could potentially be attacking with 3 power if we play an artifact. It's going to really like double up the damage there. And luckily for us, the Song Shaper only costing 2 means we get to hold up Kami's Flare here. Lethal Exploit, kill the Lizard Blades, fair enough. One thing to consider in this format, reconfigure is such a cool mechanic, because one thing to consider is we could have always just reconfigured onto one of these two, just so they couldn't use removal like that on Lizard Blades. I felt that it'd probably be better to hold up Kami's Flare, but that was an option too, for sure. Let's see what Synthesizer gets us here. Make our Song Shaper bigger as well. Get us a land for turn, not bad. Attack for 6, pass turn. Are we in an aggressive enough spot to want to just crack this for a 2/2 and not even care about what we exile? Maybe we were. Maybe I should have just sacked the Synthesizer. It is sorcery speed, which I forgot. So maybe I should have just cracked it. Just get more aggressive. Alright, 2/2 from our opponent. They hit another removal spell. No, an Azumi Prowler. We know that card well. I'll definitely crack it here. We'll have 3 mana afterwards, so if we hit anything that costs 3 or less, we can still do stuff. Alright, a land certainly costs 3 or less, so we'll get that out there. And we can't really attack with our 2/2. I guess our 2/2 would trade into their 2/2 Vigilance, which is not that bad of a trade. Yeah, that's not bad. I'll present the trade. Probably I wouldn't say a trade up. It's like an even trade. Ooh, Kami of Industry now. Bring back a Rabbit Battery to try to hit us for 1. I guess Kami of Industry is just a 3/6. It doesn't really accomplish anything here, luckily. Ooh. The Shadow Warrior to bounce a Saga to be able to replay it and do all the effects is really cool. For now, though... I think I want to kill the Kami and attack for 5. Keep a lot of pressure on our opponent. And next turn, if they only have 1 blocker, they block one of our creatures, the other one turns into a 5/5 and they go to 1. Alright, Virus Beetle, get rid of the swamp. So the lands that the Experimental Frenzy drew us did in fact matter. Because were it not for that, we wouldn't have had the extra lands to discard there. And now with Ironhoof Boar, we might just win on the spot here. It's not super likely, but that's a... Oh my, I thought I turned this off, I'm sorry. Okay, phone's off. Yeah, let's attack it. It's possible we just find lethal. Because we have 2 tricks. We have the Shadow Warrior and the Ironhoof Boar. Okay, so we have 7 mana total. So if we trample over, we put them to 5. Otherwise, we're down to a 2/3, and then we can just play a big old 5/5. Get ready to attack with it, and then go for the boar next turn. But because we have 7 mana total, it's not like we can channel the boar and cast the Shadow Warrior, or Shadow Walker. If I channel the boar, they go to 1 and I don't lose a creature. I feel like that's probably better than just playing the walker? No, I don't think it is, actually. I think it's better to do this, because then I can just haste the Ironhoof Boar out next turn. And I just realized I was so excited about having 2 really good combat tricks in hand. I think if I just slammed down the boar as a trample haster, we would have just won instead. So that was one of the times I should have just hardcast it. Kami of Industry, bring the 3/1 back, give it Death Touch Lifelink, get an attack in and gain 3. Might be their best option. Or they can Virus Beetle here and get rid of my last card. But it could be a swamp. Alright, so they do go for a Nezumi Prowler here. Gain 3, go to 9. We hit for 7 here, not quite lethal. But we hit them hard, and they're forced to block one of the 5 power creatures, because if they block memory, they take 10, so we get to attack with all of them. A lot of times, it's easy to see a board state like this and be like, I'm not going to attack with a 2/3. I do that a lot. But if you do the math here, and you see that if both the 5 power creatures get in, they take 10, you realize they just cannot block that if we send in the other ones. So I'm going to hold this mountain in our hand in case they just have like a full playset of Kami of Industry. That way they might want to bring back the Virus Beetle instead of the Lifelinker if they do another Kami of Industry here. Or if they have any Mind Rot style discard, they might spend mana on that instead of other stuff. Since we've seen multiple Virus Beetles from them and recasts of it as a potential, I guess we only saw 1. Saw multiple Nezumi Prowlers. So in the think tank here, trying to find a way to win. Pull out the Kami of Industry. Virus Beetle, fingers crossed? No. Nezumi Prowler, because if they Virus Beetle, then we've got lethal on board again. This way, we don't have lethal, but they are forced to block the 5 power creatures again, and Kami of Industry, an excellent draw. I think that means we have lethal again. Yeah, because we can grab Lizard Blades or Tawashi Songshaper. Either one is another 2 damage. I guess that's not quite lethal, is it? If we put Lizard Blades on our Trampler, it is, right? Yeah, we grab Lizard Blades, reconfigure onto the Trampler, and that finds lethal. Otherwise, we're doing 4. Right, because they block there, take 1, 2, 3, 4. But double strike on the Trampler, that's 10 right there. All right. Really awesome stuff. We're now 6-1, heading into what could be the final round, could be the final boss. Just gonna calm down for a moment here between rounds. Having too much fun. Super excited for the stream after this. And I'm taking a short moment here to go on to respond to the 5 million texts people decided to send me right now that are mildly important. Okay, we're good. So we're on the play. Turn 2 Nezumi Prowler. We've got multiple removal spells and an Iron Hoof Boar in the late game if we don't need to use it as a combat trick. Very into it. Very into it all around. Oh, what is that? Oh, they've got the Cyber Tanuki or whatever. That's so adorable. That's incredibly adorable. Alright, turn to our Nezumi Prowler here so we can get on the board and start swinging in. Turn 2 from our opponent. They're on blue-black and they play the Modern Age. They get to draw a card, discard a card, do it again next turn, and then flip it into a 2/3 flyer. So we don't need to play a 3-drop, so we'll play our tapped land to get that out of the way. So we can play our 4-drop on curve or a 6-drop on curve later, potentially. Modern Age does seem pretty good. Some nice card selection on the first 2 modes, and then, yeah, 2-mana, 2/3 flyer, good deal. The sagas are quite interesting. I think this format's going to play out to be really fun, really. Just a lot of decisions. So they discard a Cyber Trespassers, a 5-mana 3/5. They could have cycled it to, or channeled it to tap 2 things down. So here's a Network Disruptor. Definitely a little worried about some ninjutsu stuff from our opponent, because Network Disruptor is one of the great cards for triggering ninjutsu. 1-mana 1/1, they scry 1 when it hits the board, and it's flying, which makes it really easy for it to get in. So I really don't want to Twisted Embrace here, so I think I'm just not attacking with the Prowler. We'll just play a Dockside Chef and pass. Because I also don't want to Soul Transfer. I don't really want to use any removal on these creatures. I guess I could use an Iron Hoof Boar on one of them. But then we're still kind of trading the boar into something kind of weak. The Swarm of 1/1's pretty annoying for our 3/1 here. And here comes a ninjutsu. Moon Snare Specialist. Bounce was one of our creatures to our hand. I'm pretty fine with that. We've got good enter the battlefield effects and a 1-mana creature. So we'll just replay that enter battlefield effect next turn then. Gravelighter. Not great against these 1/1s here. Still just play it as a flyer, but then I lose my Dockside Chef. Yeah, our hand plays out really poorly in this matchup. 1 toughness stuff against their 1/1s, and then Gravelighter against our 1/1s. Removal, but all their stuff's just like 2/2s and 2/3s right now. I guess I can just... this feels weird. Do I just Twisted Embrace to kill their 2/3 flyer and start attacking with a 2/3 Dockside Chef? I think I kill the flyer and just hold this back, because now we have a 2/3 to block their 2/2 or 1/1. I guess they tap it down with the Network Disruptor when they play it. Yeah, because it's got that good, just reusable enter the battlefield effect with ninjutsu. This card's going to be sweet. This has got to be one of the best blue commons, because it just triggers ninjutsu so well. It's a great drop turn 1. You just get your 1/1 flyer out there, and it's a great drop just drawing it off the top late game because it taps down a blocker, helps your other creatures get in. Really nice card. A very nice synergistic deck from our opponent so far. Debt to the Kami. We have to exile our only creature. Fair enough. We take 3 now. Unfortunately, since it's exile removal, our soul transfer isn't going to bring anything back here, which will be pretty rough. 5 mana now. Play the Prowler and the Gravelighter. And then we sack one of them to make our opponent sack a Virus Beetle. So again, that is just bad for us. I also don't really like Soul Transfer on any of these cards. Oh, sorry, I didn't even notice they passed to us here. Well, here comes another big old ninja. Hopefully with not that great of an ability when it hits us. Some of the ninjas have really disastrous abilities if they manage to hit you. Silver Fur Master, that's not bad at all. Just gives all their ninjas +1/+1. Ninjas and rogues, which is fine. We still trade, take a little bit more damage. But they do get to recast the Virus Beetle. That is not ideal. I'm just discarding this Gravelighter. This card just sucks in this matchup. Perfect. We hit the Iron Hoof Boar mana. We can't really outrace our opponent, but we can try. We're tied on life totals and tied on the amount of damage we're dealing per turn. But, yeah. But they probably still have removal left and kill the boar. Plus they're attacking first. Alright, well, we're going to go to 3 here. Do I get to do both? No, I don't. It gave me both of the options, then I was like, do I get to do both? But it's just giving me both the options because I get to choose one. Down to 5. Iron Apprentice is not the worst here against these 1/1s. They didn't play anything last turn, and I had no cards in hand, so it's not like they're just holding up a counterspell. They just don't, they don't have plays there. Maybe don't have the mana for them, or, alright. Or it's just a bunch more removal. Hey, Virus Beetle. Virus Beetle's pretty good. Discard one of the 2 cards they have left in hand. Just an island. We go to 1 here. They have a ninja to deal lethal. Nope. We legitimately go to 1, but Lizard Blade's off the top, not going to block the flyer. We can send a message though and hit as hard as we can. Or they just have a counterspell in hand. Right, we'll hit as hard as we can, but that's all we got here. Tamiyo's completion? Well, it still hits. Reckoner's Bargain to gain some life and draw some cards too. Really sick deck from our opponent. 6 and 2 it is as we head into what will be the final boss. Win or lose, no matter what. Final game of Magic for today's video, but not the final game of Magic for today. Again, I will be streaming a ton of drafts of this set. I'm super excited. So, tons and tons of drafts on the Twitch channel and the link in the description below if you are interested in some live gameplay. But then I will be back again every day for as long as I can keep it up with edited drafts where the downtime between rounds and maybe a little bit of the downtime in the rounds will be edited out for you all. So it should go a little more quickly. Should be pretty nice. Alright. Loving the hand here. Nice curve and some nice combos coming up. Circuit Mender and Experimental Synthesizer, both good potential combos with the Dockside Chef. Black and white from our opponent. They drop a Spirited Companion. That's definitely going to be good against our 3-1. Always going to annoy me internally. Well, I don't normally love 3-1s, but they stacked a bunch of good stuff onto this one, so I'll play it here. I really want the 4th mana to ninjutsu out this Shadow Walker. To the point where I discard a Synthesizer? I think it is. We're going to have card draw from Dockside Chef, hopefully. So hopefully we don't need the Synthesizer for card draw. Fortunately, we hit the 5th land anyway here. Attack in. No blocks. I will ninjutsu all day long then. It's interesting because it's probably going to be a format that shapes up to be the kind of format where sometimes, even if you're just chump blocking a 5-5, I mean, even if you're just chump blocking a 2-3 with a 1-1, sometimes maybe you should just send in some early blocks against ninjutsu colors. So there's Go Shintai from our opponent, which is scary. We don't have a modified creature, and we won't. So we can't lethal exploit for -3/-3 on it. Yeah, it's going to give them a 1/1 chump blocker every turn. That's pretty good. I think we just play Circuit Mender and Oni Colt Anvil. Probably sacrifice our Prowler, because it's not really getting in here anyway. It's not going to get in against these 1/1s. So we sack the Prowler, and we can get a 1/1. Drain a life from our opponent. Seems like a fine deal. And then we can start using the Chef in the future. So yeah, for now we attack with a 5/5. Gets in, they're down to 9, and Oni Colt Anvil is going to be a threatening source of damage here because we don't even have to hit them now to keep hitting them, if that makes sense. We don't have to hit them to hit them. So maybe it's even better to drain them for life rather than draw cards. So real good play from our opponent, Naomi, Pillar of Order. A 4/4 that comes with a 2/2 because they control an artifact and enchantment. And that'll happen again when they attack with her. Kami of Industry to bring back the Prowler here is going to be pretty good. That lets us attack in again with Dokuchi, and even if they block with enough to kill it, it's still going to kill everything they blocked with. So they probably have to just chump block this turn. Fortunately, they can block Nezumi Prowler pretty easily. So the haste isn't really doing much for us. And we'll go ahead and sack the Prowler here to get another 1/1 and drain them for a life. Alright, we're at 1,000,000 life, but our opponent has a lot of blockers. They can't really make too many more with Naomi, though. So Reckoner Shakedown, they make us discard our Lethal Exploit, or they get 2 counters on one of their cards. Alright, a couple counters on Naomi. Oops. I'm going to kill that because it just keeps making blockers for them. So they need a combat trick here to save her. Wanderer's Intervention works, but I did not want to put Dockside Chef in harm's way. Maybe I should have, because we would have won that combat with a Dockside Chef slapped there too. They are down to 7, still dying to Oni Colt Anvil. We're not going to get in much longer, are we? Because they're going to keep making more 2/2s. We definitely have to make them lose a life off Oni Colt Anvil every turn. We have 2 1/1s here, so we can sack one of them just to draw a card. Kind of want to do that. I might be at the point now where I'm holding up Lethal Exploit to block Naomi. Ooh, Undercity Scrounger's so good, but I don't have the mana to play it and hold up Lethal Exploit here. So is it even worth it? Without holding up a Lethal Exploit? Probably. It probably is, because we still have a lot of power on this board for blocks against Naomi. So unless they have another instant speed removal spell, I don't think they can attack super well with her here. Guess we only lose one creature if we block with Scrounger, but then we don't have the ability to make treasure tokens to draw cards off Chef or Sack to the Anvil, which are both great. I think we block like this. If they respond with a combat trick here, we'll sack this 1/1. Yeah, sack this 1/1. They're down to 6. The board is getting wide quickly, but we're at 33 life. We have a Lethal Exploit. We have an Anvil and a Scrounger. So, use the Anvil, sack the 1/1 to make another 1/1, and a treasure. Use the treasure, draw a card off the Chef. Hold up Lethal Exploit still, see what we have here. Life of Toshiro Umezawa. Can't make our opponent lose life with that, but we can give -1/-1 to a couple creatures, or we can gain a few life. Killing some 1/1s here seems solid, especially killing the Virus Beetle, because that keeps them from having an artifact enchantment. I actually probably should have just Lethal Exploited the Virus Beetle earlier. I didn't even realize that synergy until now. That if we remove their one artifact on the board, then Naomi's not making more 2/2s anymore. So we really should have done that earlier. But again, still definitely learning the cards. Alright, so they can get as aggressive as they want. They have to kill us in 5 turns, because we kill them in 5. So I believe they're not making any more 2/2s. Yeah, nothing triggered there. So we chump block and draw a card. Or we kill Goshintai to make them stop making 1/1s. Could kill Goshintai next turn using Life of Toshiro Umezawa plus Lethal Exploit. And I might just want to take this all, because if I lose this last construct, I don't have anything to sack to the Anvil anymore to keep the treasure loop going. Where I go sack that, make a 1/1s, make a treasure, sack the treasure. If this 1/1's gone, then I don't have anything to sack to the Oni Cult Anvil, do I? So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Take 13 here. Instead, I guess I block Goshintai with Dockside Chef. If something weird happens, I exploit there. So we take 12. Before the end step, please stop. Okay, good. Biting Palm Ninja. I would rather kill that than Goshintai, I think. So I'm going to wait and give that -1/-1, then another -2/-2 from Lethal Exploit. Yeah, we're going to kill the Biting Palm Ninja. Just more threatening overall, I think. So -1/-1 to that. Another -2/-2. Now a creature's died already to get a treasure token off Scrounger, so we can get a treasure token off Scrounger and use the treasure token to make the 1/1 this turn. So we have another blocker. Then we can play Song Shaper, holding up the ability to sack both of these 1/1s to draw cards. If we want to. But we're at 23 against 4. We just have to survive here. There's a Virus Beetle. which is bad. Virus Beetle means they're spitting out 2/2s again. This is insane. This is just a wild, wild game. Trade with a 2/2 with the Song Shaper. We need to have one of these 1/1s left over next turn. Better to draw a card or get a 2/2 off the board to stop some damage. Probably better get the 2/2 off the board because it stops 2 damage now and more damage in the future. What is it? Yeah, I need to leave one of these 1/1s. Let's say, is it better to double block one of these 2/2s with the 2/1/1s or just leave a 1/1? It's definitely better to leave a 1/1. Ooh, Iron Apprentice, sick draw. We're down to 19. They're down to 4. I'm not good at math, but it feels good. Feels good. We get another chump blocker here. And actually, this is even better than a chump blocker because it can block their 2/2s. Sack a 1/1 for a 1/1. We can sack Iron Apprentice on a chump block and put the counter somewhere else as a surprise. Make our Dockside Chef a 2/3 so we kill 2 2/2s when they attack. So I think I will do that at a later time. Draw the card. Seismic Wave is absurd on this board. And we can even use that. It's instant speed during combat. We could also use it to put them to 1. So it's better to use it on their face than any of their creatures. Yeah, we're going to put them to 1 so that we kill them with Oni Colt Anvil next turn. And it's still like great on the board because we still kill all the 1/1s. Yeah, this feels really good. I don't really think things can go wrong from here. So we Seismic Wave pre-combat, so we kill the Virus Beetle so they don't make another 1/1 here? Oh no, it's an artifact creature. I forgot it's 1 damage to all non-artifact creatures. I thought we would just 1 to everything, get the Virus Beetle off the board so they don't even get another 2/2, but either way, they can't find lethal on us without all those 1/1s, and they probably couldn't find lethal anyway, so just the 2 damage to their face to speed up our clock another 2 turns was an excellent draw. And that'll be 7 wins, 7-2 in our first Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Premier Draft. Once again, if you are interested in seeing more Kamigawa Neon Dynasty drafts, I'm drafting them live at the Twitch channel in the link in the description below right now. Otherwise, just stick around on the channel. They will be daily for quite some time, as well as some sealed events of the new format. I'm super pumped about the set. If you couldn't tell from this draft, I love drafting artifact stuff. There's tons of that in here. Ninjutsu and the Sagas have played really well. They've been really cool. And yeah, just a really cool format that I'm super excited to hop in and probably try to hit Mythic this month, hit top 1200 Mythic in the format in Limited. So once again, just thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.